Okay. So we have a lot of things to cover because it is now Neleg the fifth of Grimrod. That is the middle of Darkentide, the very middle of winter. Caden's character's probably only eaten fish. It's very cold. And you all have traveled through a mountain pass because some of the people in Zelkor's Ferry were from Bardsgate. They don't want to be at Zelkor's Ferry. It's not where they're from. They needed to get back, and you have business here too. So you went on an adventure. This happened off screen. And it took you a while. It was a harrowing journey. On your journey, you encountered all sorts of mutant beasts, which you fled from and kept each other alive in the cold. You made it eventually into a mountain pass. Following the riverbank, eventually this mountain pass flowed down into another valley, and that was kind of your salvation because this big mountain pass is kind of what has blocked the weather system. You've gone from the highlands to the lowlands, and you're in these like big open rocky rolling hills now. It is, however, still cold and snowing, but nothing like what you experienced at Zelkor's Ferry when you departed. On your way, not only did you see bestial things, as you traveled, but you also saw two towers, two citadel-like stone towers off the road. Eventually, you were able to find a major trade road in this big valley. And you're traveling with people that you're helping to escort back to Bardsgate as well by land, right? Probably Bara. Maybe he's from Bardsgate. I don't know. For whatever reason, he has business to be there. You also, while you're traveling south in this big valley, you get the hints of some other kind of bestial horror, something that occupies this valley. You get the sense as you're traveling here that things are not going well for this place either. Any hope that maybe you would have had of, some army coming to the rescue of Zelkor's Ferry dims. And you realize that Zelkor's Ferry is truly a very isolated place. However, beset though they are, this place does have an organized army. As you see those two towers, you eventually make it to this, the biggest city that any of you have seen in a long time, and the biggest that some of you have ever seen. It is probably 1.5 miles to 2 miles east to west, maybe a couple miles north to south, along an intersection and a river. And there are all sorts of small waterways that break up the center of the city. I'll show you. I'll tell you why in a moment, but currently you're right here on the western side of the city. The city does have great, powerful stone walls, a standing army, a city watch. This place is crowded. There is a ton of things going on here. When you enter this place, you see, even though it's wintertime, even though it's snowing, that there is activity in the city. In fact, this is a way a lot of people are able to survive. There's a vibrancy. There are exotic foods and trades from other lands. There are exotic guilds and organizations that deal in very unique and sometimes forbidden things. There are whispers of shadowy organizations and tales and songs of heroes and knights. And all of this is going on. And a number of times as you've made it into the city, people have tried to get their hands in your pockets, both verbally and pickpockets on the streets. And that is a major problem that you've had to deal with here. And I want to bring up, how much money did you leave behind? I guess you all probably don't have much money because you probably spent most of it, right?
I literally have, I think, 7 gold pieces or 11 gold pieces.
I have a decent bit left, I think.
I have like 157.
Yeah, I had 263 at home. I probably would have left some of that back at Odo's.
Do you all
So
have
at the
horses?
lodge. I do not. So I would have had to buy one of those.
Yeah, I don't have a horse either.
Okay.
No horse.
Were horses even available at Zelkor's when we departed?
I
Right.
think Ross said there was some horses like 3 sessions ago, and we chose not to because we were going to the dungeon and what we were going to do with them. But before that, we couldn't get horses because there weren't any.
So this is important. Do you choose to buy horses before you leave Zelkor's Ferry?
I do not believe I can afford a horse, at least not in Zelkor anyway.
Okay.
I think Kate might have.
I have 1 platinum, 11 gold, 4 silver, 7 copper. I'm taking it all with me.
Wow.
Big spend.
Okay.
A horse is like 40 gold, right?
Yeah. The biggest thing is I think the gold pieces are 1 pound for every 10th. I think is that
Something wacky like that.
Yeah. So like if you carry 200 gold pieces, I think you're carrying like 20 pounds. If it's
Bonk.
200 gold pieces, you know. So
Remember how I was talking about, spreading out the gems? I wanted to do that. People bid on the gems, but not bid, but meaning say I want gems and we'd split it.
But I mean, if somebody brings a horse and a mule, then I'll say that you've got that solved.
Well, yeah, I
Cover
have a
that.
mule, so
Okay.
I'll buy a
I'll
horse
cover-
too.
I'll get a new horse.
Okay.
What's
And
the
that
cost for a horse? It was in the book. It was. How much is it above book price?
I'll say it's book price. After
cool.
especially after everything that happened. Let's see where the ostlers are. Because I will mark the map where your horses are because I assume, unless some of you are on horseback and the rest are just walking aside the horses like peasants, I don't. You can also do that, but it won't speed you up. I guess you could carry things. So yeah, you could do that. But you can also like pay an ostler and stable your horse. Trying to find the let's see, livestock. No. Guild, hospitality.
I'll tell you a city I would love to play in someday, but it's totally the opposite and feel it's Thieves World.
Yeah,
The original 1E, 2E one. I'd
Yeah.
love to try that.
it would be
Don't know
cool.
it at all.
Well, anyways, I'll find out where your horse is later. But if you wanted to, you could also stable your horse. Services.
I'll hang on to him now. All right,
Okay.
I've made my decisions regarding the money. 200 GP left at the lodge to return to. 26 GP on my person, along with 9 silver and 4 copper.
All right.
That's a total of, call that, 4 pounds.
Alaric is the classy one here because he's the only one with a platinum piece.
Yeah, 1 platinum.
Of course,
piece.
it's that platinum piece some guy tossed at me that was looking down on me, but whatever.
That's a lot of money for someone to throw you contemptuously. Someone throws
Yeah,
me.
remember those idiots? Remember the idiots that we met?
It's like-
That they knew everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me a platinum. I forgot why. For I giving him some advice for free or something like that.
Oh, really?
It wasn't free after that. That's great money.
Well, yeah, that was. I know
Yeah.
that's what he did afterwards. I gave it to him for free.
It was good flex.
So you can tell, even as you enter the gates, that this is obviously a big river trade city, right? Like, there's this big island in the river, and obviously at some point in the past, the city was really this massive bridge. That's what it really was. And then this huge metropolis has kind of grown up around it. You have every kind of level of life here, from slums to the highest nobles. And you're able to find, if you're carrying, 20 some gold, you're able to find a place to stay. However, it isn't long after you enter the city that you are, that people gain notice of you. And you are asked to come to the Inn of Six Candles, and they ask that you come to the Merchant Square. And when you get there, they have money for you and fine clothes, because this is a very, very nice part of town.
They give us money when we enter town? Is that a very forward-thinking thing here?
When you come to the Inn of Six Candles, kind of as a sumptuary thing, like, hey, if you're going to hang around here, you need to dress properly. And they have like servants that can take your armor and weapons, and but you can keep, if you have small weapons like a dagger or a short sword, you could keep that, but this will allow you to operate in this part of town. And they have like really fine, can't remember what the name of the clothes is, the thing is again, but a tunic.
Doublet?
And yeah, that's nice. A doublet's even better. I was thinking of something else, but a doublet would look very nice, I think. Yeah.
So
I'll post my doublet picture later.
I'm wondering how Bara came in with the rest of you. I was kind of imagining that Bara was from Bard's Gate. I guess Bara could be introduced through these folks who are hiring everybody, but he's not. He doesn't have a lot of experience like they do. Like, he wouldn't have a reputation. I wonder actually if Bara's been, like, maybe when you first came in or something, or on the outskirts, he volunteered, or somehow he offered his services as a guide or something. Like, he knows Bard's Gate, and he's been helping you find, like, where to go to get food, and where your horses, to the best place to stay, and all that kind of thing.
That works for me.
That work? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I was saying, yeah.
Okay. And you would know that he's like, should I just describe him?
Sure.
Okay. So he's clearly from the city, even though it's like the seasons are changing. He's still wearing very worn sandals, like things from the summer, that are worn through in the sole. He's wearing a scholar's robe, like something you'd wear if you were a scribe or a scholar. It's also quite worn out, and like sweat stains in the armpits and things like that. He has a bowl cut that looks like maybe from a month ago, so it's sort of like a raggedy bowl cut now. And I imagine, like, in this world, it's not like there's dentists and like a medical plan. Like, I think there's probably a lot of people who have all kinds of ailments, right? And Bar is definitely one of them. Like, he has a hunchback. One of his eyes is sort of swollen and bulges a little bit. He has missing teeth and rotting teeth. But at the same time, he also has a hunchback. Did I say that yet? He's got a hunchback. So he's clearly, like, not the kind of person who gets on well in society, but he's very kind. And he's broad-shouldered. Like, he seems to be he's strong and capable enough in that way, but a bit clumsy. The hunchback kind of makes things a bit tough. And you've heard that he loves to look through a book. He's got this book that he's been studying, and he's talked about magic, and he's very fascinated by that kind of thing. But I think he's probably just been quietly helping at this point, and very, very grateful to be coming along with you all.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, okay, yeah. So you all got to know each other on your journey, and if that's the case, Bara, the Inn of Six Candles is it's essentially a lord's manor. that the Lord uses as a place for other kind of wealthy merchants and nobility to carouse. Like, this is a place where the well-to-do in the merchant quarter go. And you know that because this part of town, the roads are stonework, and this building itself is stonework. It is cozy on the inside, and it smells like a mixture of exotic opiates and tobacco smoke and really sweet wines. And people are dressed as if they're at a some kind of like royal venue in fine dress. So this is something probably Bera never imagined in his life that he would be here. But not only did they have free clothes for you and an invitation to the Inn of Six Candles where the maitre d' already knows your name and has seating for you, but you have free rooms. These are rooms that are 20 gold pieces a night. And you have food served to you that's like, roast pig and some things that would not be available to other people, especially this time of year. And it's all paid for. And somebody's coming here to meet you. You can see in here in the inn that there is you find it. It is. Oh, okay. Right. Got it. Okay, so you see, people here are very wealthy. Sorry, it's 10 gold pieces per night, which is still, a ton. There is a kind of entertainment that's available here that's a combination of bathhouse and song, dance, and dinner that is 100 gold pieces. It's like an event that you can kind of do. They'll stable your horses for 3 gold pieces here, and the place is extremely well guarded. They have all sorts of really exotic foreign wines that are here, which I can provide to you by name and price. There's probably 7 different types of beverages that are unique just to this tavern. You were brought in by a concierge who provided your clothes and told you about your room, and they said that your patron would meet you soon, who they say is a lady named Marinath. And as you gather at this table at the meeting place, you can see that there are all sorts of people here. And although they're not shown as tokens, here on the far end of the room are a group of people in armor and weapons. And the armor looks like plate, breastplate, and buckler, and half plate, and chainmail. It's peculiar. It seems like, like they asked you to remove your weapons. But, and they're drinking and singing songs of glory of the army of light and of Saint Muir and of all their grand exploits. And people are clapping and listening to their songs and their tales and everything. And that's what you see going on here. Your patron has not arrived.
Would Caden be able to hold on to his mace or
They asked,
magically?
Yeah, they you know what? Actually, I'll make that a roll, but you have to convince me. Like, how would you, like, you wouldn't part an old priest from his stick? I mean, how do you tell this?
That never ends well.
Yeah, maybe just don't draw attention to it. Maybe just let him take it.
Okay.
Just kind of pretend it's nothing.
Alrighty.
I will I will
Go ahead.
surrender my bow and my shield and my longsword. I'm hanging onto the dagger, and I'm not going through all the rigmarole of pulling this armor off. I need it for strength training. My body must stay honed.
Okay. They give
Also,
you
it's
a
warm.
large enough doublet, and you find yourself uncomfortably warm.
Yes, I'm so fat and happy.
Bara is wearing whatever this doublet is. I guess somehow it fits, and he looks super uncomfortable sitting with all of you. I have no idea how
It doesn't
talking-
fit. You know, this is the
Right.
like,
Yeah, so he's stuck in this thing, and he's just looking wide-eyed around at everything, and he says, "I didn't know you were a nobleman. This is
Oh, we didn't either.
it's a secret."
We're not noblemen. I don't know what this all is.
I think they may have had us confused with someone else. We better not take anything we can't afford to repay.
He just nods.
Oh wait, that's just about everything.
Okay.
I don't know what any of this is. He looks at the menu.
I think we need to clarify that immediately when somebody of importance returns.
the menu.
No, that we're not sure they got the right people.
The maitre d'. Well, if you ask your concierge, the person who brought you in and gave you the clothes and stuff, he says, "No, I'm certain. She described you. You are, and it's Bara, Caden, Alaric, and Gerald. Is that right? Of Zelkor's
correct.
Fury? Yes. They are your benefactor should be here soon. I apologize for the delay."
What does Gerald think of this, Richard?
Gerald is having an amazing time. This reminds him of the last serious time that Gerald was in a situation of this luxury was after a campaign that he was involved in to resolve a major dispute between two nobility, and he had the good fortune of being on the winning side, which meant that afterwards there were, of course, an incredible party, which this is reminding him of.
Nice.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody else, I don't know if you heard, but the rest of us seem pretty visibly uncomfortable with, and we don't even know what the menu is. Well, actually, Bara says, let's call him Bara. Bara says, Sir Gerald, is there anything on here that we can afford that might be? I haven't eaten a meal yet today.
You will not be turned. I recommend you will not be turned wrong. Order the porridge and ask for it to be spiced. It's just porridge, but it will be well done and with a richer flavor than you are accustomed. I don't think you'll regret it. If your concern is economization, simply ask the porridge.
He just nods and keeps his head down at the table as much as possible, and is like looking to the side at other people in the room, but tries to not make eye contact.
Yeah, the porridge is with spices, comes in 3 different courses, and it's only 3 gold pieces. So,
Well,
but
Bara
it's already paid for. So,
okay. Yeah, this is really good. You have some, and he has the spoonful. He actually had the same spoon he was just eating from, and he hands it over to Caden. Try it.
No thanks. I'm full.
Just
I'm
smell
not. Let me taste.
it. Okay.
It tastes like hygiene. Hasn't been invented entirely yet.
Really good.
let's see. In fact, I think at some point. I have a question about Gerald. The world is
Okay.
expanding too, so this is maybe you all can help me out because I admit this has not been put on the map yet. What would if the fantasy English Isles would be called Albion, right? And it's this pseudo Arthurian pseudo history, right? Mm-hmm. What would fantasy France be called in the same time period? This is kind of smeared over as the as the Middle Ages
had a name
are,
in my head
right?
and it
Like
went
as a
away.
popular conception, it's sort of smeared over a 500-year period, so it can kind of fit. So, for example, the Holy Roman Empire is a thing right now, right? Although that would not have been, but so there's some wiggle room there. But what do y'all think?
Britannia, nah.
You mean Brittany? How about? Nah, Gaul is too old.
Brittany,
No,
I
that
actually
was pretty
thought
good.
about Brittany. Like
I was making a Warhammer joke. Britannia.
yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Because Gaul is the old name.
They like their castles and their knights and their religion and stuff. The French of that time, so Britannia
Frankistan.
probably wouldn't. What is it? What'd you say?
Frankistan.
Frankistan.
Okay, maybe that's too silly.
Francistan. So I wanted to propose, since your name is Gerald.
Francia.
Yeah,
That Gerald might be.
it could just be France, but this is a kind of pre 100-year war. Like this is long before that, right? So not the France we know. So, but the French culture we know. Anyways, your name's Gerald, and since you say that you were a soldier and you were on campaigns and such, I wanted to propose that you might have been from there. You might have been from Fantasy France.
Sure, that works for me.
That will come into play later, apparently.
How is the linguistic situation work out? Because Gerald does not quite have the intellect to pop up with bonus languages.
Yeah, you probably just speak an accented, what's called Low Woldish. That is to say, Old English.
Works for me. I'll make a note of it.
Yeah, maybe in your past life you spoke like a Frankish language or something. But, anyways, cool. What was I gonna say? Somebody coming to ask what you want to drink. Manuel, speaking of French people, comes over and he says, "And what would you all like to drink for the evening?"
I'll have some ale if you've got any. I'm wondering if they serve such a thing in this place.
We do. We have the finest ale in all of the Lyre Valley, the Silverwick Amber Ale.
Do you serve
like
anything
Amber.
with no alcohol?
A person of the church. I apologize. He seems a little embarrassed because this is like the middle of winter, and in this part of the world you would fast because you would be spending all your time like in prayer right now. So no alcohol, eating less. Yeah. And he's like, yes. We can certainly get you something to drink. We'll find something, I'm certain. This makes him
Thank
really
you.
nervous when he realizes that a religious person came in here. And you notice, Caden, that this place is... the religious situation here is a lot different than in Zelkor's Ferry. Either people have completely forgotten the light here, or they have a reputation of being zealots and cultists.
Whoa.
There's a kind of cynicism here for some reason, and you don't know why yet. But there's
Excited.
something about this place where the average person is not religious and not into that at all. And despite it being the middle of Darkentide, no one seems to be fasting. But you've heard of religious groups, but you've heard they're like extreme.
Mara just wipes the porridge off of his. He's really loving it. Wipes the second serving or whatever of porridge off of onto his sleeve, and it's like, oh, I want ale for me too, please. And just starts.
Probably
Of
Blondad
course.
would enjoy it here. Probably Blondad would fit in.
I don't think they've met Father Bloombad, come to think of it.
Oh, Caden has, but nobody else, I guess.
I have.
Oh, yeah.
No, I have.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, in fact, had a bit of an argument
I
with
felt
him.
he was a little crazy, but I know.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. He would have fit in here. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Some might say that about you, Caden, out of character, but
Oh,
About being zealous. That is. Anyways,
Are you doing all right, Sir Caden? You're not. You don't want to drink anything.
Oh no, it's a religious time for me. I'm fasting.
Religious times, fasting, not eating and drinking,
I had a
Oh,
lot of
just
religious
eating
time.
less.
eating less. Oh, that's no good. When you eat less, that means you're poor. I've been there too long. You should eat when you can, and this is a chance for you. Have some of this. Pass over the bowl again. Come on.
oh no.
Patience, my friend. When you become, after you've come into significant money, you can there comes a new level where you can say, I can afford to not eat. I know that my next meal will come.
Ooh.
It's another form of being clever.
The light will provide my next meal. I don't
Also
need to worry.
Nice.
I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. And he gets back down again. And
All is forgiven. We come from much more rural areas. The excitement of the big city is taking some getting used to for us, but we're liking it so far.
The maitre d' Manuel, he says, is that so? That would that be L for everyone then? Except
Actually,
of
I
course
would
the,
love to
the
see
father, the brother.
I'm interested in your courses of wines. It's been a long time since I had a really good one.
I've never had one.
He says, "I'll be right back, sir." And eventually they come back with 2, 3.
Wine is much sharper than ale, in my experience. Ale has a softness, a roundness to it, and a bitter flavor, whereas wine has a sourness to it, and a sharpness, and a sweetness that hides behind the prickles. It's a very different experience. It's worth trying if you've never tasted it.
Yeah, no, I've had some. I was led to understand watered wine, but in services, but that's about it. I guess I could try.
I don't think you'll much regret it.
He comes back with 3 bottles, and they are from your home country, Gerald. Parnubilan is one. I don't know what that is, so you can tell me. But it's a 25 gold piece bottle.
East with fun.
A rosé Goldsberry and a Cabernet Vinewood. Those are the rosé is 8 gold pieces per bottle, and the Cabernet is 12 gold pieces per bottle.
I'm gonna go with the 12 gold piece one.
All right.
I really should have brought more money from home, but I'm gonna have to hope that I can find high-paying work while I'm here.
So as you all settle on getting things to drink and eat, and a bottle of wine to share, a lady
my money accordingly.
comes by and sits down at the table, smiling at you.
Elfborn.
She's not an elf. Sorry, she just has weird ears.
Okay.
Yeah, but and she says, "Oh, the Hounds of the Pine. Or at least some of you, right?"
Yes.
That is correct, my lady.
I'm merely a servant of them.
Okay.
We are affiliated, I think.
My
I
name's
myself am a member.
My name is Marinath. I'm sorry for that I couldn't meet you at the city gates, but I had some business that I had to do before I could come here. But I wanted you to experience a certain aspect of the city so that you could understand some of the things that I wanted to ask of you. Because I want to hire you for work.
Mm-hmm.
She takes out a clog, like a wooden shoe. It's very rugged and poor, but small, like for a child. It's probably this big. She takes out a clog. It's dirty and nasty, wooden, and she puts it on the table. And she says, I'm a musician, but I do some things to try to help around the city. I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to tell you any more than that. But I've heard of some of the things that you did in Zelkor's Ferry.
I'm pleased that our reputation precedes us. It's a pleasant surprise.
It did. It spread quickly after the people that you brought here started to make their way about town. I try to do some things to help around town, and I regret to say that there's something I'm sure that you've seen, that the city has some problems. There is something going on right now in the city that is particularly awful and troublesome. And I think that you all would be ideal for trying to help us with it. Children, little girls, only girls and always children, are going missing by the docks.
Oh, that's horrible.
It is horrible, I think. There are these cloaked strangers also. Not entirely unusual here. There are lots of strange groups of people, but in the poorer parts of the city here, they've been stalking the streets at night and along the river's edge and in the canals. It's putting people on edge. And then, of course, the girls that are going missing. See those people over there? And she nods toward this table full of people wearing armor and telling stories and singing songs. What do you notice?
What of them?
When you look at them, you can see that they're wearing half plate, and it's polished and pristine and perfect. They look like they've never actually been on an adventure before.
Is there anything, if Bara's lived in Bard's Gate, is there anything that distinguishes them as a certain kind of social class or
Bara
some
would
kind of...
probably, because he's level 1, right?
Yep.
Bara would probably not notice that they probably have never been on an adventure before. The others have been in this situation a couple of times already, where they've dealt with, like, charlatans, essentially. On the other hand, Bara, you would actually recognize these people as the... you would know them by name. These are the Company of the Silver Spear. They are one of the most famous adventuring companies in all of the Lyre Valley, and all sorts of songs exist about them. They're like celebrities.
I think I thought I recognized some of them. They're not the Company of the Silver Spear, are they?
She confirms. They are the Company of the Silver Spear, in fact. The very ones.
They're famous, say to the others.
Oh.
Their armor certainly looks very shiny.
I think they slayed a dragon.
Really?
I heard
Not in
that.
that armor they didn't, but perhaps they have. Perhaps they've done well enough to hone spares.
The woman. Oh, go ahead.
No, that was it. It was just spares.
Yeah.
Offering a generous interpretation of the situation.
The woman smiles. She says, "They are quite famous. You've probably already seen that being in this part of town is not for everyone, haven't you?
It's an expensive place.
Solving problems is not for everyone either in this town, and not available to everyone."
Has there been any investigation into this? I mean, this is not acceptable by the people around here, is it?
It depends on what part of town you're in. The brownies, though, that's what that's what they call the cops, the beat cops here. The brownies, they patrol the docks and the canals, the black market and the market area, but not quite so much. Not as much as the market district, like they do here. Not so much as they do the guild district, where the money is, or the keep quarter. So, you see, there are some things that it's hard to find the right help. And anyways, some of the people that claim to have been witnesses have been beaten to within an inch of their life, and other people are refusing to speak to the brownies anyways, which is nothing new.
I look to Gerald and Caden and barely know the other guy. And I'm like, we have to find out more about this. This is very disturbing. Children.
I'm certainly interested in looking into it. Quick huddle, but of the four of us, we don't have much experience in investigating this sort of mystery. Our opponents have mostly been very forthright in their intentions. If we confront our opponents, I'm confident we could come to terms with, we could overcome them, but I don't think they'll make it easy.
Yeah, I wouldn't know where to start.
Well, we'll learn together, if you're prepared to accept the possibility of less than total success.
Some of my miracles may help with this.
If
Indeed
you
so.
don't mind me speaking up, sirs, I do have experience, and I've been living here all my life. I think that I'm not the same type of person that you are, but I do know my way around, especially these kinds of places where people don't like to go all the time. I might be able to help out. I might know some people or something.
I didn't feel comfortable volunteering you for such a thing, but I wouldn't turn you away. It's true you're not the same sort as us, but I think that we would be stronger for the having you. It's that diversity which would grant us new perspectives.
Good man.
No one's ever spoken to me like that before. I think you're saying good things, and I appreciate it. I'd like to help. I think I can.
Sure. We could definitely use a local guide if we're going to get into this sort of trouble.
Yeah, we got to see if there's any commonality in these missing children. Are they orphans? Are they? I think I may have heard they were. Are they orphans? Are they from a particular part?
Little girls, all going missing at the docks.
Yeah.
Why have you mentioned the Silver Spear people?
You ask Marinath
Yes.
that?
Good question.
They're one of the most famous adventuring companies in the city. And right now, with over a dozen or more little girls missing, they're here recounting the stories of their deeds. I don't think
I see.
I don't think that they're the best for this job. And,
I see your point.
that's why I think that you would be ideal. I could tell you some more things. The only pattern to these abductions are that they only happen at night. They're always young girls. They some of them were taken from their homes, some of them stolen walking through the streets. Some of them were part of the Slaves Guild, the Servants Guild, which has a tendency to take up orphans and lost girls and boys anyways, children. A lot of people grew up that way in the Servants Guild. Some of them are from neighboring lands, refugees, something happening out east right now. But they all leave, they've been taken only from the Thieves' Quarter, the Turlin's Well, and the Outer Quarter. Places like the docks, the canals, but those are the 3 quarters of the city that they were taken from. And then, of course, there's these cloaked figures. There are reports of them, but potential witnesses always seem either beaten up or refuse to talk.
Who is this Turlin?
Turlin is
Probably it's an old name, but whatever.
Turlin is a hero from the city's past, and so he has a great big dang statue of himself in Turlin's Well. That is his namesake.
If you don't mind me asking, lady, is there these folks that aren't speaking, aren't answering questions? I glance back over at Gerald, and everybody is like, "May I speak?" These folks who won't answer any questions. Do you know any of them, or could we speak to any of them? Maybe we could give it another try.
You could do that. You could go to one of these places: the Thieves' Quarter, Turlin's Well, the Outer Quarter. You could.
What's that quarter, Ross? Thieves' Quarter, Turlin's Well,
Turlin's Well, and Outer. Something.
Outer Quarter.
Outer
Okay.
Quarter,
Outer.
yeah. You could try speaking to the Servants Guild, the Entertainers Guild. You could try to talk to the river folk that are down by the docks, since some of them have disappeared by the docks. You could try to get help from one of the holy orders here, but good luck with that.
Yeah, someone's going to ask about that. Has the church taken no interest in this?
She scowls when you say that. She says, "I can tell that you're not from around here." I'm sorry, I don't mean any offense. You're obviously a cleric. You're obviously a minister or something like that, right? Brother. I don't mean any disrespect, but I think you might find things work a bit differently here in Bard's Gate.
If you would explain, we
You're
course, be
all
quite
not
interested.
from Bard's Gate.
Only Bara. Bara doesn't
suppose-
know what we don't know.
Something you should know. Have you heard of of course, the Great War against the Fairy 2 centuries ago between King Arthur and the forces of the fairy folk of the Isles, and of course, separate of that in a campaign is the Army of Light that marched here to the far northeast and did battle with the forces of chaos here in these lands, right? They died on the ground of Rapan Othik, the place to the northeast of here, right? Well, there are all these great songs and stories of saints and knights and things like that, but Bard's Gate has somewhat of a different history. When the Army of Light marched through here, they took everything that wasn't bolted down. They drafted everyone that they could into their service. They forced everyone. Bard's Gate became the orphan city after the Army of Light came through. And of course, you know, depending on the legend you hear, I'll give you ours. The Army of Light was destroyed to a man, and they were destroyed in their campaign. And so there were generations here without fathers or grandfathers.
I can see how that would I can see how that would leave a negative impression of the church.
We also exist in a strange place closer to the borderlands, but between east and west, either East Gate or West Gate. And we've had to learn how to survive and exist as an independent trade city. So it's a bit different than further south in the Isles or in Arain. It's just simply... And then also, the holy orders that come here are often interested in the borderlands, and that means they're... And she looks over at Cade. Zealous in their interests.
All those without zeal, their faith didn't survive what the Army of Light did. So the only ones that remained were the most fervent in heart. Maybe not always for the best.
Caden is a little bit speechless. He doesn't really know what to say to that.
Well, I come from a distant land. Every people's history has its share of stories that seem mad, insensate, crazed things we did in the past. They all had some reason for doing them at the time. They left a long stain of regrets and history and pain. Someday, perhaps if we are fortunate enough to grow old and strong and successful, people will tell stories of the terrible mistakes we made.
The other characters wouldn't know this, but out of character, Gerald, these are world elements here that are going on in the city. So things about Gerald's homeland.
Cool.
The war that you were in is something of more recent memory. It's not, it's probably a decade ago or less, I don't know. But it was against wild peoples, probably the Fornjotter themselves, like in Scandinavian Denmark and those places. Like,
Writing this down real quick.
and they were not. So your peoples are very religious. Like they're very like the light. Like, and they're pretty homogenous in that way. And you had this big war against these people from the north. And then there's this tension between you and the Holy Empire to the east.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm one of two foundlings, as it were, from that war, most likely then.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you were.
So I was like 6, 7 years old, whatever
That's
it
the
was.
way.
Raised in a monastery, but from North people.
Yeah, and then you ended up being raised somewhere in the Isles or something, right?
Yep.
In a monastery. Yeah. What did you say,
Yep.
John?
So this is the way. He's a foundling. Anyway.
This is the
Oh,
way,
yes. This is the way. Yeah, I heard that. I was going to make a "this is the way" comment, but you were talking, so I didn't want to say it. I realized that's what you were saying.
All right. So anyways, she says, yeah, those are some people you could talk to. You could talk to someone down at the docks, the river folk, the Rivermen's Guild. They're the ones that, kind of operate in the canals and the riverways. Or you could go to one of the other quarters. You could try going to the Thieves' Quarter or the Outer Quarter. And then she points to the clog, to the clog, the wooden clog on the table, and she says, "Now this is my friend of mine. He's a Hanley Grouse Heldring. It's a proud family, and he's a proud man. He's a longshoreman. And this is his daughter's shoe. The thing I know about it is that he got this shoe from his wife as she was screaming, and he tore it from her grasp. It's the last thing that they have of her daughter. Her name was Uella. And there's nobody in this side of town that's going to help these people.
And we would be glad to offer our assistance.
I think so, yes. If you wish us to turn our talents to finding justice for these people, we will do so. But we will need some form of finance to support ourselves here in the city. Can we trust on you to provide us for some sort of living expenses suitable to keep us, sheltered, fed? I'm a humble man, as is brother Caden. But I feel Alaric has endured a great deal of stresses over the last several years, and I feel like he would appreciate, a nicer inn than the worst.
Okay, she just rolled it. She thinks about it for a moment, and she says, "Well, I don't know that. You could stay here. What about one of the other taverns in town?
Sure, I'm not picky.
Yeah, we're used to little more than a hovel.
It will be very difficult for you to find lodging for us, which will not compare favorably to the lodging for which we departed.
Don't finish that thought. That strikes me as calling down the light in a bad way.
All I ask is that she not go to the trouble of doing so.
I wonder if there's something that, or an area that Bara would know that is kind of close to Turlin's Well, the Thieves' Quarter, and the Outer Quarter. Like, I don't know where those things are, but maybe not like a totally depraved establishment, but like a nicer place that's quite close to all three of those areas.
This is where I can, out of character, this is where I can brag on this book. This is where I will get use out of this book. There are 43 taverns in this place.
Well, we might as well use one of them.
That's very useful.
And she
You can
chuckles.
pluck that out and put it anywhere.
She chuckles a little bit at when you say that there's nowhere you could go that would be worse than where you've been or whatever. And she says, "I don't know if you've ever spent time at the Tick's Nest." And she taps her face a little bit, and then she's like,
They named themselves the Tick's Nest on purpose. They chose that name.
So is it like Schmuckers?
Let me see the best place.
10,000 Nuns and Orphans.
Maybe it was meant to be ironic.
Was Bedbug's larder taken?
I think everybody I know Tick's Nest, and it just stuck. I think that's what I know. I might have another thing, but I know it as the Tick's Nest.
Yeah, it might not even be the name of the place. It's just what everybody calls it.
Perhaps
I think there's another thing outside, but nobody knows that one.
Yeah, Barra might have a point on that.
Give me a moment. I will try to get you the closest inn, and she will pay for your room and board there.
Now, while you're doing that, I'm thinking, like you said, we don't have a lot of experience with this investigating things, but yeah, I'm thinking maybe if they're taking these children, I would assume. I mean, well, there's a couple things could be doing. They could be sacrificing them to something, but assuming they're taking these children out to sell them or some kind of illegal trade, maybe something near or places might be near the waters where they can ship them out, or a dock on the docks or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's a good precedent for the investigative cleric, so you're doing good. If anybody's ever read Brother Cadfell, or actually it's Cadfile, I've been told recently.
No.
Father Brown, I've seen.
Yeah, I think as Ross is doing this, I think there's like just walking and questioning. There's staying out at night while we're down there, like just wandering. I don't know what asking this Henley guy about his daughter. It might be a bit too sensitive, but
that might be a good idea.
Like, where were they? Maybe Henley at least would be willing to talk if nobody else has got more information.
I'll give you his
families
location.
strike me as people who are very motivated and perhaps yet have not yet been bludgeoned into silence.
Yeah.
At the worst, we could patrol the streets at night.
Yeah.
Perhaps Bara could wear a little dress. Perhaps they'll come for him and we can lead to his defense.
Oh yes, that may work.
Yeah, and who's suppressing people talking? Like, it's not a... I think that I can imagine Bara is actually talking with this, and you discover that he's quite intelligent, and he's been really taking this stuff in. But I'm just talking in my own voice. Like, if someone's suppressing them, that's not some... There's people in town who are following up, right? Like, there's something organized here. It's not like a sea creature coming out of the water, right? I mean, maybe there is.
I take your point.
There's also got to be people in the city that are colluding with it.
Yes.
Okay, I think this is a bit. It'll take me a while to get used to this. This is not as easy as dropping off. Like I'm sad to report.
No
Our
worries.
friends, the Silver Spear guys, they're making money somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I mean, Ross, I don't want to hope I didn't sidetrack you too much with that.
No. I mean, I think it's a great idea. To be honest, I think there's going to be a little bit of this going on where I have to try to find the next place and get the info I need.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it gives us a chance to talk and think about what to do too, right?
Nice.
And the other question, if you're still going, Ross, the other thought I have is like, do we want to split up and question a bunch of things, or what are you thinking?
Never split the party.
Right.
I feel like if we get stabbed a lot after we split the party, we won't just die. We'll die embarrassed. So I don't think we should do it.
Don't want to die embarrassed. No.
Oh man, I can't believe I made it all the way back home from frickin' Zelkor's ferry and fought a million billion wolves, and now I got stabbed by a guy in an alley.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, Ross, it might be helpful to you is if you have a way of pulling up on the computer the PDF for searches and then go to the book for looking at it.
Yeah, I have that. I have that as well.
Okay, good.
I have a whole thing set up here. In fact,
Cool.
I will. The first thing, because this might actually be helpful to all of us, is you'd mentioned where is Hanley Grouse. So he is. Actually, he's a carpenter. Here we go. The outer quarter overlooking the East Canal. Because I don't think... Yeah. Interestingly, that's
See Lost Lands book 12.
Right. Yeah, it
That's
does
where the
do
canals
that.
are.
That is on the opposite side of town. Outer quarter.
We should start with him.
If that's what you want to do, I can find you an inn over there where you can stay there. And then, if you change your mind later, you can go somewhere else,
Sure.
Because you will have to city crawl over there, and stuff might happen. Outer quarter overlooking the East Canal.
What do you think, everybody? Talk to him.
It's as good a place as any.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Caden.
Here we go. Outer quarter.
Oh, and by the way, if anybody sees me closing my eyes for more than a few seconds, it's the 3 hours sleep.
Oof. Yeah.
All right. If you black out, I understand.
Well, no, it's funny. If I black out, that's going to hit me in the face. That's what's going to happen. Then I'll wake up. It's an alarm system.
It'll be really funny if you don't wake up. Just go smack
just
points to the ceiling.
Right.
We're here snoring.
Well, why don't we just start with a tavern in the outer canal? The good news is this is a gigantic city, so I think this would probably be Bara. This place that you think of would be really swanky by your standards, but you've got Rheingold's Bar and the Broken Camel are a couple of places over on that end of town.
Okay. I'll suggest the one that's the least fancy, just because I would feel uncomfortable with the other one. They don't know any difference, so.
Okay.
I'm interested in the Broken Camel.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Just because of the name.
Oh,
yeah, it sounds fancy.
Broken Camel. All right.
What kind of tool is a camel?
Let's see.
It's a kind of riding animal from far to the south. You don't see them around here.
Oh.
Now that I do have as part of this world because it's based on 3 Hearts and 3 Lions. Those you would know those peoples as the Saracens, which you probably mislabel to not be all. Like they're not just one people, but people from this part of the world probably think they are.
Saracens and Saracen accessories.
You recommend that series, by the way?
I do. To me, I was like, oh,
Cool.
this is what D&D is. Oh,
Cool,
Oh.
because I picked it up because of the D&D, connection, and it's on my Kindle thing very high up. I think
this
it's
setting.
one book away.
So Otherworld. If you read Three Hearts and Three Lions, that's what this is. Except that like the barrier between chaos and law in Three Hearts and Three Lions is really obvious, and it's very. We know where the chaos is in that book, and in this, it's not clear, right? Like you don't know where it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never even heard of it actually.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
it's really
you got
good.
the D&D 1. The 1 edition has a great appendix. I think they call it Appendix N, which lists a lot of really interesting books that are worth reading. It's funny, I had read a lot of them before learning what D&D was.
So when Caden says, "Oh, I like what's a when somebody says what's a camel," and Caden's like, "I like this, broken camel. That sounds neat." The good news is, Bera, that you're like, "Oh, good," because it serves swill. It serves, and you happen to know that they sell it at standard prices, but you have probably a relationship with people there where you can try to get it at its proper price. But the ale there is not good. But they do have a reserve of good stock, because the person that owns the bar, is a foreigner. So he keeps a stock of good wine for people that he likes.
I'm comfortable there. I think I think you'll find it to your liking, sirs. I like the place. It's got the ale is fine. I'm comfortable there.
All right. You also know by reputation that it's formed in a place where the wall was never repaired from the war from 20 years ago. By the way, there was a war here. Your character would know that. The other characters probably would not. This is a regional conflict.
Cool.
Let's see. All right. Is there anything else that you want to do here? And she asked you as much. She says, "Is there anything else I can do to help? I am just a musician, but."
Well-informed musician for sure.
She smiles.
Let us know if you hear any interesting new songs.
Well
Wink.
done, sir.
I will.
If you don't mind me speaking up again, sirs, milady, how might we contact you? Is there a reward for these things? Who do you represent?
There is a reward. I think that at the end of this, if you're able to resolve this problem, you'll take quite a reward. The people that might be doing this are quite wealthy, and if you can overcome what's clearly they're controlling information, they're controlling what people are saying, they might even be paying off the brownies. If you're able to make your way through all that, at the end, the people that are doing this, I think, have money. And I wouldn't be too opposed if you just took it. They also have some other things that I think that you all would find quite valuable, especially if you make your way back to Zelkor's Ferry.
It sounds like you have some thoughts on who might be doing this.
When we first met, Brother Caden, I said that I have some things that I can't tell you. That's one of them. And even if I told you, I don't think it would help you right now. What was I... What's the first thing that you asked?
That was it. Or how might we contact you again? But maybe we
how
don't
would we
need
contact you again? She says, I'll find you, and I'll know.
Right, so we're headed to the Broken Camels. So that's if we leave there, I'll leave a note at least.
You know that the Broken Camel is it is On the opposite end of town. Almost directly on the opposite end of town, basically.
Okay. It'll be a bit of a walk, but we get a bit of a tour. I can show you a few sights, sirs.
That sounds wonderful.
Where's the bloody thing?
Henley Grouse. What was his last name, Ross?
His name was Henley Grouse Heldring.
Aldrin?
Heldring. Heldring.
Heldring, okay.
Maybe it's in the fold of it. I have to. The digital version of this does not actually. It's not actually visible. So interesting. Where is it? Maybe you all can try to find it when you get there. We'll see how. Oh, I found it. But anyways, you know it's on the opposite end of town. Oh, and near the wall. Yeah. So, okay. Here we go.
So I shuffle out in front of all of you, and there's definitely like a spring in my step, in my shuffle, and I loudly point out certain things, like statues and sites where certain things happened. Whether you care or not, I'm pointing it out. I've got a backpack, and you see me take out a big, thick book that I study whenever I have a chance, by the way.
Nice. You exit back into the merchant quarter of the city, where the streets are stone. Everything is still vibrant despite the falling snow, and it is a beyond the falling snow and the clouds overhead, a bright day. It's like a beautiful winter day.
Nice.
Yeah, and let's see. So you know for a fact that you need to get on the east end of town.
Okay.
Where do you go? Oh, and I should also note, you can basically go about 3/4 of a mile. Now, this is you going through alleyways and around things, and, and it's snowy outside and all this kind of stuff, and you're going over whatever, so like it's not like you're like walking on flat terrain straight towards something, right? You're not going as the bird flies, so it's not fast going to get through this city. But I'll say you go about 3/4 of a mile before I roll for stuff.
Okay. What do you all think? I mean, the arrows that I'm seeing look like the clearest way to go, right to the main square that we're on, up to the next main square, and right straight over the bridge, hey? To the east side.
One moment. I've got to fix something. I just did something ridiculous to my hair, and I need to fix it real quick.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't see the camera. Damn.
I know. I looked up too. I was like, oh, that was it.
What did you do?
I will describe what you see here. So, okay. This, when you get out in here, is a grand plaza. And it is probably one of the most... it would give the impression that Bard's Gate is an ideal and cosmopolitan city. The streets and this big plaza are stone, and there are entertainers, and there's people with vendors and trade going on out in the streets. You can see around you I won't describe all of them, but there is a store for unique magical things, and there's a place. This is a city with many eclectic things in it. There's a bar, and there's actually, in fact, there are multiple places that promise odd magical items, poultices, transcriptions, and sacred or bizarre and esoteric texts and stuff like that. That's kind of what this what you see here, that kind of is eye-catching anyways. And then there's this really big bridge. This bridge is 300 feet across. So.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, so I'm pointing all that out there. You can get poultices there, and some of the stuff Barra probably doesn't even know. He's just saying it because he's reading off the sign. My dad does that. He acts like he knows what he's talking about.
I get that. I act like I know what I'm talking about, or I just don't, or I just don't know it all.
Yeah.
Barra, roll a d6, please.
All right. Where's that old roll 20? Here we go. Barra's luck is way different than Flanagan's. Just watch. There you go.
There you go. Well played, sir.
Barra will get you there.
There you go. Okay. All right. Where do you go from here, Barra?
Well, it sounds like we're going to head straight over the big bridge, the bridge beside us, to the next main square, and then over the large bridges. Wow, that's already... What's a mile? That's half a mile there already, right?
Yeah. So you can roll another d6, and
Okay.
I will... So you cross the bridge, and you can see a compound and some... This is also a very nice part of town as well, the heart of the city. You're entering the guild quarter, and you have guilds for musicians. You have a guitar, or not a guitar, what do they call it? A lyre shop. You have a bespoke helmet shop where you can get custom-made helmets. You have all sorts of artisan places here, and Barra, that these are owned by the guilds. Now, the whole town is run by the guilds. The most powerful guild in town is actually the Wheelwright Guild. The people that drag things off the river and disseminate it. Amazon is basically in charge of the town.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
cool. I try to describe what I know of that as well as we're going. This is cool, by the way. I like this. This introduction to the city, like this sort of tour.
Okay. I hope it's not too tedious. We can just get there, I don't have to describe what you see. Like, you can always tell me, well, let's just keep going. But I will roll for encounters, because that is.
I think it's nice to take the time to do this. It's an introduction to a totally new place, right?
Yeah, this is cool so far.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And you said you wanted to go toward the big bridge?
Keep going, yeah.
Okay. I'll go halfway.
I just realized they're going to make us pay a bridge toll.
This
We got our weapons and stuff back, right?
yeah, and you're not just walking around in like fancy doublets and stuff that you're
Right.
Okay.
Is it
I
frigid? Has the weather changed here, Ross? Is it still just as unnaturally cold as it was near Bard's Gate, near
We
Zuckor's
dodged
Gate?
that.
Yeah,
That was
Zelkor's Ferry is kind of like in the highlands. It's like this higher terrain, and it was unusually cold there. And it is winter here, but no, it is probably 30 degrees Fahrenheit, 25 maybe.
Cool. So you want another 1d6?
Not yet. I just was just looking here to make sure that there's not some crazy thing that like absolutely is like, oh no, this thing here happens.
I kind of want some crazy stuff to happen.
I'm going to go back through this book and pen and ink it, and then it will be way better. I'm already seeing what needs to happen, and I could revise this book for this bunch, and this book would be great. There's just a few things that it needs.
Yeah.
But this is good. I needed like a live fire exercise to actually try this out, and I can see that there are some things that need to happen.
My sister is an editor. She runs a book company, and I'm sure that she doesn't call the process of reading through a book to determine its readability a live fire exercise.
Oh, sorry.
Like when I went to the beach last year over here, and I see the sign that says "Shelling is not allowed on the beach." And I'm like,
I certainly hope not.
That's an interesting thought. I never thought about that.
yeah, and I swear to God, I didn't do that facetiously. I went like to my wife, like, what the hell does that mean? And should we be here? Oh, it was live shelling. That's what it was, live shelling. It's like, what the hell? It was something about some clams or whatever the hell it was.
Do not disassemble the shellfish where the children can see. It makes them weep.
Right.
I was like, what the hell is that? I know it's Florida. They can get weird, but come on.
I'm glad that I looked this up because I wanted to make sure and I point this out. So you came through here, and this was like the guild's quarter, right? And then you move past this plaza, and now you're in this area, and there are these older stone buildings. Some of them are in disrepair. Caden, you immediately recognize the architecture as they're oriented east. These are temples and sanctuaries and way shrines. This is the temple district. And Caden, you even recognize here what at some point in the past was probably a grand, beautiful temple. It is the temple to the exalted temple of Saint Tyr the Lawbringer, or the Lawgiver. Saint Tyr, you probably have heard as the patron saint, one of the two patron saints of the city.
That's my saint.
Oh yeah?
I think you mentioned that.
Yeah. Yeah, and but the thing that is of note to you, Caden, is this place is dilapidated, and much of it is abandoned, and some of the stone buildings are in disrepair and fallen in.
I'm sure they've been looted.
And we get to the bridge, and now you can roll a d6, Spara. Let me know if you get a 1, in case I don't see it.
Nope. Nope, 3.
Alrighty. I like this road's name, Gygax Lane. Let's see here. This has its own district.
Oh, right. You mentioned that already. Yeah, that's where we should go for drinks next time.
Gygax's Lane?
Nope. Tinker's
Tavern, yeah.
Tavern.
I'll even take the art from his YouTube, and I'll take it and I'll put it on there. Yeah. I guess he went to GaryCon, right? Eric Tinkar did, but
he definitely went last year. He also got COVID.
That happened last year?
Yeah, it was last year that he got the COVID from GaryCon.
Well, I know a bunch of people got it this year, didn't they?
Yeah, one of my Thursday night people got it.
Oh, really? Wow, at the con, yeah.
It still keeps floating around.
Yeah, lots of tridemic this year. The other sicknesses are bad this year on top of that. Let's see here.
Sure. I got RSV. That was pretty nasty.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I got stuff this year too. I'm looking, sorry. Go ahead.
I was at a convention. I had breakfast with a friend. The next day, they tested positive for COVID.
Oh, goodness.
And so we assumed we were doomed. And then my husband and I are both thoroughly vaccinated. He caught COVID and tested positive for it. He felt pretty lousy, like a flu proper. I felt kind of crummy, but I never tested positive for COVID. So I guess I got lucky.
Well, my mom tested positive and didn't have any symptoms at all. So,
yeah, they said from what I heard from the doctors that not only are the tests that test positive, test negative accurate with the negative, even the home test they're saying is really good. The current home tests are very good for that. You don't miss a lot of things on that. If you test negative on that, they nearly don't need to do it at the doctor, they said.
It's always a little weird when they keep updating the things, but they're in the exact same packaging. So you don't know it's different or better.
Right.
Yeah.
So she gave me the whole thing again when I was sick, and then they found it was RSV. But she goes, I I really don't even need to do that. If you just took that test, you know. But I got to give you the other two, so why not just order the 3?
So this area here, as you pass, this bridge, just as a scale here, I just want to note, is almost 620 feet across.
Holy London!
From north to south. Yeah, it's massive stone bridge. It's essentially its own like city, you know.
Is it of like mortal manufacture, or did a wizard show up here and get really creative with Wall of Stone for a while?
I think what Bera would be able to tell you is that this place is known. This is sort of like what the city was kind of built around a long time ago, and it's called the King's Bridge because it's named after an ancient bandit king from like centuries ago. Because Bard's Gate is actually very, very old. It was around during the War of Faerie, like as what's her face noted, as Marinath said, and yeah. So anyways, and there's 2 major bridges. This is the King's Bridge, and this is the Lyre Bridge on the other side. And there are shops here, and there's even an inn. You can see the sign as you pass here. It's a stone keep called, and on the wooden sign that's flapping in the wind with the snow coming down and everything, it says just "Inn on the Bridge," you know, is the name of it, and
very creative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool.
There are a bunch of you can see that this is an intersection going off into other quarters here, and there are whole islands. Like there's an island you see off by itself here that has its own structures on it, like that, you know, that it's got something of its own going on. Now you can also see that there are active watercraft. People have broken the ice that's gathered in certain places, and the city depends on watercraft. Like the whole city runs on it. Okay, so across the Lyre Bridge, you can roll another d6.
Okay. Another 3. No ones yet.
All right. This you would recognize as, goodness gracious, Turin's Well is the quarter that you're entering right now.
Okay, so this is one of the where things been going down.
Yeah, this is apparently one of the places that people have gone missing. I need to just like this. Trulan's Well. Okay. This is also the area where you have the city is full of these canals where the land is broken up. This stuff is man-made, but this is what's called the East Canal, and you know that you're looking for the guy who is in the outer quarter overlooking the East Canal. That's where he's located somewhere, and he's on the wall. I myself am curious about this. There is a thing here you see as you're approaching from these buildings. An alabaster pillar topped by a bowl is carved with gargoyles that look down upon a circular street intersection. A low angled wall divides the usual paved stones of the street from stained granite pavers that surround the pillar.
Huh.
And
Fascinating.
you know, Bara, that this is kind of like a thing that was constructed here as a form of art. That when it rains, the bowl atop of that is atop this thing, it collects the rainwater, and then it drains from the gargoyles to create a dome of sheeting water. and the water strikes the wall and runs back down toward the pillar where it drains down into the sewers.
Too bad you're not here when it rains. It's real pretty. That thing is with this nothing really.
This was built by Utello the Sculptor, purchased by the merchant lord Cutane over a century ago, between the Fairy War
nice.
and the last war. And
Some of these details Ara actually tells you, like he might know some history, might surprise you that some of because the one thing he does have is kind of decent intelligence. So sometimes, like, there might be some details about history where he does say this was made by blah blah the sculptor years ago.
Caden is impressed. He's like, wow.
yeah,
How do you know all this?
I'm interested in that sort of thing. Do a lot of talking and a lot of listening. Reading when I can get books.
you can roll another d6 by the time I move it and we get there.
Okay.
You can't read.
Another 3. We did it.
All right.
3 is the number.
I think the math is working out well. Some of the encounters are benign or just interesting or odd, but then some of them are potentially bad, depending. And I have a completely different thing for wherever you are. So whatever's going on. So it would make sense that you should be able to mostly go around town without getting harangued by things constantly. You wouldn't be able to accomplish much. Okay.
Does it matter that Caden has his holy symbol out around the neck? He's wearing it.
Yeah, I think it will affect their attitudes towards you.
Yeah, he's wearing it visibly.
Good to know.
Flying the flag.
Okay, so you know that it's somewhere along the wall here on to the east, on a road.
The Broken Camel or Henley's place, whatever his name is.
The Broken Camel Inn. Yeah, that's probably where we'll end tonight. Actually, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
See if we get an encounter and then kind of call it a night there, if that's okay.
Yeah. One more roll.
This is a small person operates this, you know, a little person, and it's a dog trainer and breeder. It's called Cograd the Dog Trainer.
Neat.
Remember that for Flanagan.
Yeah. Yeah, you get your dogs here. I did say you could get dogs here. I did say that.
Yeah,
Bork.
there's a contact right there.
All right, now you can roll. Yeah, you can roll one last time.
Hey, passed it.
Passed it. Okay. And then this is a place. There's a store here for making parchment and different paper things. And then finally, you make it up this road, and here is the Broken Camel. When you get here, you can see that the eastern wall once supported this building, but the structure that was here has since been converted into a tavern. When you enter the tavern, it is it doesn't smell nearly as good in here, and it's just made of a simple rustic wood, yeah, the place in the tavern is just flush up to where there's a hole in this massive stone wall, where it was torn down during the war.
Well, here we are, the Broken Camel. I hope it's to your liking. I thought to myself, now where would these folks like to go? I've been traveling with them for a few days. I seen what they were like in that other place, and this place is quite nice, quite fancy. The ale's not too bad. It's comfortable. So I said to myself, the Broken Camel. I think this would be the place for them. He just nervously starts talking and looking at all of you to see how you're reacting to the atmosphere.
All right. Yeah. Well. Does anyone else want to share anything before? No? All right. Well, that is the end of the session tonight, and then the next time we'll begin our investigation of Bard's Gate to try to figure out what happened to the missing girls.